The National Union of Mineworkers has contemplated dumping the ANC for the SACP in the upcoming local government elections. However, at the recent NUM National Congress, there was a shift in the balance of power in the election of Philip Vilakazi as the union's president. SABC News senior reporter Samkele Maseko sits down with the newly elected NUM president, Philip Vilakazi. Samkele, a very good afternoon to you. I'm sure it will be an interesting conversation, workers' issues notwithstanding. I'm also sure as there are talks or concerns rather of political realignment of old alliances, that too will also feature.
Indeed, Unati, the realignment of South African politics is indeed intriguing, and also the worker issues, particularly those who've worked in the mining sector within the country and in the trade union movement, play a critical role in the political and economic trajectory of the country. The NUM just recently came back from their own Congress where they deliberated on a number of economic issues facing mine workers, and ultimately the political and economic landscape of the country. I am going to bring in Mr. Philip Vilakazi, who is the president of the NUM. Mr. Vilakazi, just the essence of your Congress as the NUM, what were the main resolutions, particularly on the plight of workers within the country? We see the recent quarterly survey numbers have shown that unemployment has gone up within the country. How are you affected as a union in this particular sector within mining and construction?
Thank you, Samuel Masego and viewers at home. I think the 18th Congress of the NUM dealt with a number of issues. Among others, is a paradigm shift in terms of the policy makers are concerned when coming to the investment in the sectors, mining, construction, energy, and metal. And of course, when the Congress sit, we were fresh from a number of issues. For an example, the number of Section 189s that we've been receiving from the coal mines, from gold, from platinum. But of course, we continue to be sustained. A number of issues raised, amongst others, it includes the mines which are under care and maintenance, the operating mines that, like you have Sibanye, which is operating in the footprint of gold fields. We have Sianda Bakhatla operating in the footprint of Anglo-American, and Village Main Reef that is operating in the footprint of the defunct Anglo Gold Ashanti. And the question that we have been asking is to say, when will all these mines put under care and maintenance be resuscitated to address the issue of the 32.9% of the unemployment, and mostly being the youth? In terms of this construction sector, of course, there are a number of issues there. You know, this new normal of construction mafias, and many of those projects which are unfinished businesses and given to people whom we thought they will do, like the Hillarys of this world, the Marian Roberts of this world. It's not the case today. And this energy transition that we're talking about lately, insofar as all these things that you are doing are concerned. These are the issues that the Congress took to hit. And of course, they debated and they said to the leadership, go there and make sure that you give attention to our issues, you grow the economy of the country, because we cannot exist, Maseko, without the industries that I just mentioned.
When you look at these particular industries and the role that it particularly plays within the employment factor in the country, looking at the Platinum Belt, over the years have suffered severely within that particular area. What are your numbers looking at in the Platinum Belt, for example?
Well, there we had a very serious wound. We were injured in 2012, and that particular injury slowly is getting dressed up quickly. We are in more or less, I'm just a skeptic to give the figures, because we have our own fishers who are with the fishing rod on the field, making sure that we get everybody back to the union, because the unity of workers is what is paramount. Remember, Masego and the viewers at home, the slogan of the revolution is that one employer, one trade union, one country, one federation. And through this spirit, democracy was born. Now we cannot be able to tolerate any kind of division that can make us to lose focus and start to follow the footprint of capitalism, because all these are the results of the neoliberal policies which were implemented in our country.
When you look at these neoliberal policies, it brings me directly to your next point, which was raised by your former president, the outgone in the last Congress, of perhaps it's time for the NUM to dump the African National Congress and go with the South African Communist Party. What is the current union's posture come those particular elections? SACP is contesting. There's a view to woo some unions within COSATU, to dump the ANC and to move with the South African Communist Party. What is the NUM's position?
Look, to be precise, the alliance of the African National Congress, the SACP and COSATU, has never been formed on the basis of elections. Sometimes if we are a family man, if something wrong is in the family, you don't abandon your house. You sit there and ensure that the trouble finds you being equal to the task. We are saying the unity of the alliance is paramount, because we have delivered democracy under this alliance. And equally, we need to go to the national democratic revolution element of transformation when coming to the issues of the economy of the country. It is not a well-advised or well-thought idea to definitely rally behind people who are saying we need to divide the alliance. The NUM in its Congress resolved that the democratic rights of individual members must be exercised. It is a right to vote. But as for us to say you vote for the SACP or you vote for the ANC, that will be against our will. There has never been a decision of the alliance to say we are changing the leader of the alliance today. The ANC must be on the back seat and the SACP must then be the leader of the alliance. It's only that time where we can have a position that says, no, there is a decision of the alliance. Now we have to take the SACP as the leader of the alliance. As a member, of course, we are saying to our members, and you must understand, Masego, that workers are from different political parties. But because they were united by apartheid for some years in 1994, and that is why in the presence of AZAPO, PAC, IFP, you name them, but people chose to vote for the African National Congress because of its lucrative policies. And if there is something that has come in between the people and the organization, it's not the right time now, because capitalism will rejoice to say, oh, the neoliberal programs have managed to make us to divide these people, because divided you cannot bargain.
Are you essentially saying that you are not moving away from the African National Congress, nor are you openly endorsing or pushing your members to vote for the SACP? You are basically saying you as a union have always been with the ANC, and such a time where a debate comes about where the SACP is now pushed to be at the front of the alliance, that is when you will openly endorse the
Precisely,
SACP.
and we are saying, let the alliance continue to be united as it is. The founding principle of this alliance has never been elections. We cannot be divided by the imperial programs. We are here to stay, and this alliance is for us and the generations to come. Our unity is important.
When you look at the government of national unity, you as the NUM have suffered, particularly looking at some of the policies that are being put in place, the public-private partnerships that are being branded about. Aren't these so-called neoliberal policies that are being brought in, allegedly, going to hamper the growth of the union, and particularly your representation of the downtrodden and the poor and the workforce?
Look, that is not, it's neither here nor there. The militancy of the National Union of Mineworkers is something that it has to definitely be revisited. Till now, we don't care who is the employer. The only thing that we want is for us to remain with our rights. If we remain with our rights to bargain, our rights to go on strike, we have got muscles. Whoever pulls to the left will pull to the right.
Have you spoken to Solema Paila of this particular posture? He was at your Congress. Have you spoken to him that you as the NUM are not in support of this particular posture of the SACP contesting elections on its own?
Fortunately or unfortunately, in the Congress, I was a candidate for the presidential position, and the mood of the Congress is different. The only focus becomes that you pay attention from what is on the table. And of course, if there are some engagements that we'll do with the party leadership, we are at liberty to do that. And of course, it is our wish that, in fact, instead of making our detractors and people who are sponsoring this division to lululate and say now even big organizations have left, remember at the center of the South African Communist Party is the vanguard of the working class. It's not the vanguard of people or unions which are part of COSATU. The working class itself is fragmented. If you are able to just track back from the 2012 to date, you look at the trade union's health in the country. This is the responsibility of the South African Communist Party because it is pro-poor and the working class. That's the only debate you can have. But you cannot then reduce the South African Communist Party leadership into discussion about elections. Elections to us is a breakfast. We have got a real meal, which is to sustain the legacy and the dignity of the African people and those who are subscribing to the issue of unity of our people.
Is the SACP failing in its role to be the vanguard of the working class and the poor?
Well, I will be now off-ramping in an event I fall on that trap because the leadership of the party will definitely speak on this one, but I'm not mandated to budge on that one.
On the issues going towards the COSATU's National Congress, where is the posture of the National Union of Mineworkers looking at the debates currently taking place within the Federation and the transition from Zingiswa Losi? I'm told there are other contenders that may be wanting to have a slice of the presidency of COSATU.
You see, on that one, maybe because you are going to the Central Committee, our focus now is on the resuscitation and the economic reform of the country. We have got a very big enemy in between, which is the austerity measures. Workers in the public sector, what is happening to them, it affects us in the private sector. And remember, government is expected to be a policymaker. And in an event, the policymaker is deterred to do what is right for the people. Remember, Masego, if the cat is not in the house, you will see by the maize crisscrossing, doing as they wish. Now, immediately the working class, and from the Federation's point of view, all of us as unions can sit and sing from the same hymn book. Then we'll be able to see what is it that you can put as a program to ensure that we sustain our livelihood. When
you speak of these austerity measures, they've been largely associated with the budget that was delivered by the Minister of Finance, saying that it's an austerity budget. It's a budget that is there to negatively affect the poor and the working class. Why then do you still support the ANC when it's seemingly implementing a budget that is not for the majority of the people they seemingly represent?
You see, Masego, it's like people confuse a leading political party and the state power. You see, a state is a very serious component that if you are not in the bus or you are in the bus but you don't know where you go, you will only hear from the driver when he says, here is the end of the destination of this bus. The point here is that the African National Congress in government, it has never been a one-party state. It's a multi-democratic party government. Since the inception under the two key leaders of our revolution, the late Nelson Mandela, may his soul rest in peace, but to be precise, we are at a stage where the dominance of the spirit of capitalism has come to a point where all of us, everybody sees himself as a leader. Nobody is agreeing to say, I can be a follower. The problem of the economy of the country is not about who puts what. The issue is, why do we still have businesses in the country which the owners of those businesses have got no interest of the people at heart? The only time, I'm giving you a recent case. Look at what Donald Trump is doing. Since COVID-19 to date, the economy of South Africa never showed any sign of being improving. This is not because of the African National Congress. It's about those who are holding the purse.
When you look at the South African economy, there's been discussions around beneficiation by the African National Congress, particularly with these tariffs being imposed by President Donald Trump. You will be largely affected as well with some of the minerals that are coming from the Northwest, from Limpopo, and from other parts of the country, the Free State, that need to be exported to international markets that may not be exported because of these particular tariffs. What is your standpoint on this issue of beneficiation and the tariffs that are being introduced by President Donald Trump, 30% on South African products?
You see, that's where now we are saying BRICS must start to roll their sleeves and ensure that Africa for Africans. And if we have got our own natural minerals that we have in the country, let us make trade with those who understand our space. Let me give you a typical example with the issues in ESCO. You have people who are saying to you, you have got natural resource called coal, but you are saying to you, don't use your coal. At the same time, you can sell your coal to us, doing the same business that they are saying don't do. Now, immediately you are a price taker. It's difficult for you to determine your own journey. It is time now for us as Africans, especially the progressive forces, to sit down and say, are we doing business with the right people? Or we are doing business with people who want to create us to be a laughter? We cannot be a mockery. We are all here. This time around, Masego, we must be honest with you. We are all now educated. I'm proud seated here to tell you that I'm an academic product. There's nothing that must just come and go as if we are still like the generation that wanted somebody to be an interpreter when they want to put their views across. I can put the views of Africans across seated here. Today they are sponsoring something very foreign that is trying to create a third world war of some sort, because they are plugging us into poverty. They want us to fight over crumbs while they are taking the cream.
Who should we trade with these particular minerals? Gwede Mantashe, the Minister of Minerals and Petroleum, says perhaps it's time to look at the BRICS formations, Russia, China, and trade with these particular commodities of coal, of chrome, of iron ore, of gold, of platinum, that you are involved in as the NUM.
That is the debate that we think it is healthy. We are prepared to engage in the national dialogue, but there are some under-carpet discussions that we are doing with other ministers. Like I said to you, our fishing rods are extended in all corners. The intention is to ensure that there is economic reform in the country. We cannot be a laughing stock or a mockery of those who, by any chance, they never expected a black man to be a leader.
When you speak about a black man being a leader, what's the NUM's assessment of your former General Secretary, Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of the country and the president of the ANC? What's your assessment?
Look, if you take the old wine and you put it in a new bottle, maybe the only shape you can deal with is to say, what size of a bottle do I want? But you will still find the flavor and the same wine. Cyril is not, if my calculation is right, is part of the generation of leadership after the 82 years of the establishment of the ANC. ANC is only 30 years in government, after 82 years of the revolutionary struggle. And obvious, if you read from the thesis of the African National Congress aspiring to be a mouthpiece of the people, there's one element that they left behind, is the preparation to govern. And if anyone can stand up here and say somebody is wrong for doing this and that, the question is, which thesis are you talking from? Because the thesis that we have is telling us that comrades were revolutionaries. The only thing that they can definitely be exempted on is to throw bombs, is to defend themselves using the caps of dustbins. But as for who is a governor in the pool of our revolutionaries, there, I'm taking my rights and I reserve my rights not to comment, because indeed everybody is walking like a seesaw.
Who will you be voting for, SACP or the African National Congress?
Personally, I'm going to vote for the African National Congress.
Why not the SACP?
It is part of the alliance.
What would your advice be to NUM members? Where should they go? ANC or SACP? Or
they must follow their affiliate. If they are members of the African National Congress, they will vote for the African National Congress and any of the party of that they join. Because here, I need all of them. Whether they come from DA, they come from any other political party, they've got the right to follow their conscience.
Thank you very much, Mr. Philip Vilakazi, who is the president of the NUM. So I would assume that you'll be having a post forward very soon with the General Secretary of the SACP, Mr. Solema Paila.
Thank you very much. That will do. Offshore or even onshore.
Thank you very much. That is Mr. Philip Vilakazi, the president of the National Union of Mineworkers, basically saying he is voting for the African National Congress. They're not ditching the ANC, but they are saying the alliance must remain intact. Also speaking about the economic trajectory of the country, about the tariffs that have been introduced by President Donald Trump, saying that these minerals that they are involved in mining as the National Union of Mineworkers, perhaps South Africa should look at trading more with other countries, particularly within the BRICS formation, your Russia, your Brazil, your India, your Saudi Arabia, your Iran, who are within that fold of these countries of this new BRICS formation that has been recently expanded and was expanded on South African soil, saying that South Africa's economic trajectory must change. Also speaking about not abandoning coal, which many people are advocating for renewable energy.
All right, Samkele Maseko there. Thank you so much for that, in conversation with the newly elected NUM President Philip Vilakazi, touching, of course, as you've heard, on a number and a range of issues.